Welcome to Armstrong Street Scene Plus. Hi, I'm Rick Guerrera along with Greg Roden. And today, I think we're going to talk a little bit about some of our car shows that we liked growing up. I grew up in a different era. I grew up back basically in the 50s and the 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
and
I was 70s and 80s. So, you know, 90s was a little bit on the end of mine. But we grew up, we've got a 60-year span here of stuff that you grew up with and that I grew up with different shows. You know, what shows, TV shows, movies that stand out that you grew up with that you remember the cars in, and what were they?
The one I really liked, I think it was called Route 66. It was like an early 60s show, and they had pretty sure it was a 59 Vet. What's that, the C1 Vet? And man, I loved it. They would cruise all around and hot rod that thing. They had the front end jacked up on it, and that was where I fell in love with the Corvette set, with that show.
Yeah. Anything else that stands out to you that back in the growing up in the...
Well, James Garner had that one show, and he always had that Firebird. Remember that Firebird?
That was my era. I mean, that was Rockford Files.
Yep.
The brown Firebird. I mean, that was probably, I was real young. I remember that. Movie-wise, even the Batmobile. You talked about the Monsters.
The Monsters. Oh my God.
That's your growing up there.
Oh my God. I remember all the Munster cars. You might laugh at them, but George Barris created those things, and they're like in museums right now. I was just watching some stuff the other day, and the guy had a nice collection of them. You know, the coffin car. You know, and the pipes were shooting way up on that. God.
Those were great, and you know, being a car guy, you always grew up with that stuff. And, anything else that stands out to you?
Well, of course, you got the Trans Am from what's it, Smokey and the Bandit. Well, that always stands out.
77 Trans Am, And I have to mention that, you know, something that the Bullet.
Oh yeah.
With Steve McQueen, you've got the '68 Mustang, you've got the '68 Charger, the best car chase ever. And if you're a car guy and you haven't watched Bullet, that's something. Even just pull up the car chase. That's what started all these car chases.
What was that, 69?
69 movie, 68 cars in it.
And they had the Mustang.
The '68 Mustang, which, if you've got to read up on that, they just found that car last year in a junkyard. So
where was it, in Mexico?
Yeah, there's two of them. There was one in Mexico, and then they just pulled these out. But the '68 Charger they had in it, I think they found that one too.
The Charger?
The Charger.
Oh
I think it's still
I can
around
imagine
too.
what that one was like.
Yeah, they had two of those too, I think, for the movie.
Just the way probably just having the car itself is probably worth $50,000.
Yeah, just to have that car.
Yeah.
But again, I grew up in a different era.
Like Barney Fife's car. Remember we saw Barney Fife's car?
Yeah, all those old cars in the movies. I remember. Again, I grew up with American Graffiti. With all those cars, that's just a classic car guy movie.
How can you forget that one? Yeah.
And then when I hit I grew up in the '80s, and the Dukes of Hazzard. Goes without saying, Dukes of Hazzard. And there was a show called Hard Castle in McCormick for 3 years, and that car I just fell in love with. You know, stuff like that. Simon and Simon.
How about Starsky and Hutch?
Starsky and Hutch.
Was that a
Torino? My buddy had a replica that he just sold. I was hoping he'd bring it to one of our shows, but he never did. But it's my buddy that has we featured him at the Fireplace last year. He has the Police One. He had the Starsky and Hutch replica, but lots of car shows when you're growing up.
Did you have a replica of the
Love Bug? Well, again, that's I love.
That's 50 years old now. You know that movie.
Yes,
50 years old.
I have that Herbie replica. I love Herbie the Love Bug.
Everywhere he goes, people love it. They go,
Yep. So that you know, it sticks with you. You never grow up. So anything else that sticks?
Yeah, one recent one that probably came out last year was called Baby Driver. You got to check that movie out. They had a young kid in that one driving that car with these old guys robbing banks and everything. That is a neat movie. It's a fun movie. Great car scenes in that one.
Yeah. And if I want to wrap my end up on this, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh yeah.
You can't mention that. And if you don't know, if you're into the newer Gone in 60 Seconds with Angelina Jolie and Nick Cage, if you look into it and you don't know, that was a remake of the original Gone in 60 Seconds movie, which was superb. all car chases. Just one, and you know, you've got to check that out. If you haven't seen the original one, you got to watch that one.
If you know of any other good car chases, which there are a lot of them, give us a call. You know, email us. What's the email address?
Yep, you can go on our Facebook. This is where we're posted at. We want to hear your comments. We want your questions too, because we want to answer. We're here to get down and personal and answer questions that you got. Armstrong One Wire on Facebook, or you can email channel20 channel20 at agoc.com. It's right down here on the screen, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, very much. Please do. Please do. You know what? The car hobby is the greatest hobby in the world. For Armstrong Street Scene Plus, I'm Rick Guerrera, along with Greg Roden.
We'll see you down the road.